full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters, and the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Allo at 866-481-2556 or visit allofiber.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
'Tis the season to raise a little Cane with Raising Cane's. Spread joy with craveable chicken finger meals and treat everyone on your nice list to a Cane's gift card or our beanies, socks, mugs, and more. Happy holidays from Raising Cane's. One love.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
All right, welcome into Inside the Huddle. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Jay Foreman will be joining us momentarily here. Obviously, a lot on the slate to talk about. 402-464-5685. Like I said, Jay's not here yet, but I got a good idea on where he's going to go. We're going to be talking a lot of conference championship football here on 93.7 The Ticket. 402-464-5685. You guys are welcome to join as I'm bringing us in. I see the man himself, Jay Foreman, coming in. You can also join the streams as Jay works himself in. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. All great ways to put a face to the voice. And as he gets student ready here, I'll throw him on the mic. We got Jay Foreman hopping in studio. Like I said, 402-464-5685. Jay Foreman, how's it going on a Sunday morning?
Good morning, Good morning, Harrison. You gonna get me on?
Yeah, you're on. I don't know if you got your headset off or what.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Did we do the advanced medical imaging?
No, you got to shout that out.
All right.
We just got rolling here.
Yeah, this is the tardy version of Inside the Huddle. Jay Foreman, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Take care of all your imaging needs and get you a clear and obviously a good path to relieve some pain. They also do some innovative stuff for breast cancer awareness, pre-screening, and then they also do some really good stuff with body comp and with athletes. And so obviously athletes and any adult, but they're really focusing on the youth athletes and college athletes to help them learn body composition so they can recover from either injuries or just obviously the strains and stuff like that. So, and also they do a lot of things with concussions. So that's obviously very prevalent in every sport, youth sports, high school sports, college and pros. So a lot going on, Harrison, this week back in Husker land. It started off
with a beat down, unfortunately.
What, basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end part.
Oh, okay.
We got to start. We got to start at the beginning, which is obviously the portal. As soon as it seems like the clock struck 12 after the Iowa loss. The guys jumped in the portal, had some movement, and obviously we had Tony White, moving along with Terrence Knighton. Evan Cooper was officially the safety coach down there, and Patrick Surtain, who was out. It was a really good player himself, and his son is Patrick Surtain. The second is obviously is the best corner in the league, but he's the Florida State Seminoles corners coach. Now John Papuchis is down there too. He's still on staff, so it'll be interesting. And then we did a little flipperoo. We brought back Simpson from there, who was here previously. Wanted to get a more expand his career. He went to Florida State. Now he's back. Was hired back as an outside linebackers outside pass rushers coach. We don't know who the defensive coordinator is. That's just the start. That was just a little bit of the coaching movement and stuff, and that happens all the time, and it's going to be more prevalent in college sports because the change in college sports from I'll call it a systematic standpoint, right? From the TV contracts are essentially controlling the leagues, which then is changing how coaches can lead universities or lead football teams, and how athletic departments as a whole is changing as well.
At least if you're Rule, you kind of knew this one was coming, though. I'd imagine
Tony White.
Yeah, I mean, this was a realistic possibility last year.
It was I think it was a possibility, but probably maybe not the defense coordinator. I think Tony has a lot of family back in Florida and stuff. I think that played into it, and same with Terrence Knighton. So I just think it was a little bit more familiar. He's really had a lot of. I mean, he had a ton of success here. You don't replace a person like Tony White just that easy.
No.
And in order to be a good coach, number one, you got to know the X's and O's. And Bill Belichick and I guess the modern day version, because everybody thinks Bill Belichick's so old, but like the Sean McVays and those guys, they know the X's and O's probably a little bit better than say like your average coach. But generally, good college coaches knows X's and O's and how to put it in place. But I think what really makes good coaches, one, you got to be a good leader. You got to be able to command the room, and they got to command respect and demand respect. You got to earn respect, and I think it's a relationship type of thing with kids these days, and that's what Tony did, and that's what Terrence Knighton did. So it's not an easy fix. I don't think any movement coaching wise should come as a surprise, just like kids, and everybody wants to point the finger. Oh, well, the coaches, because before, like back when I was getting recruited, to be honest with you, a coach would be there through signing period and then be at another college like that next day, and the kids can't go anywhere. It's no different now. Kids can be here. I remember when we got those 4 or 5 guys from Florida, COVID hit. I don't think any of them even got a class in. They came in the spring, and they were gone by the time the season started. Now, granted, there was other dynamics to it, which is you're far away from home, you can't talk to anybody, so I understand where.
Yeah, what the hell would you be doing up here anyways?
Sure, well, you're supposed to be playing for Nebraska, but
supposed to be playing, but
you never. But they just went back home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit of a unique situation. So I think that the whole landscape of college football has changed. So the coaching movement hit us just because of the way that Tony White had kind of captured, the team and the defensive side of the ball. And then, a lot of players jumped in the portal. You got Jamari Butler in the portal. I think he might be able to come back, or, I think he probably would be open to it. I think he's kind of just trying to, get in there and clear his head. And then, big game James Williams, he's in there. You had Jackson, the big defensive tackle, he's in there. So you had some guys going to portal. That's normally normal. I think it was probably a little bit too quick for all of them.
I was gonna say, do you think a lot of them now, like, I wonder if agents, I don't even know how many of them have agents are just telling them, like, go get your number. Go test the market?
That was the second part I was going to get to. And then, we had obviously Garrett McGuire. I think he's back at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Then we had a lot going on in like 24 hours when Tony White was officially going to Florida State. We officially hired Dana Holgorsen as the offensive coordinator. Garrett McGuire is going to Texas Tech. Marcus Satterfield's back at it was like musical chairs. He's at the tight end coach. And then we brought in Coach Shorts from Kentucky as the wide receiver coach, who's, I guess essentially married to Dana Holgorsen, but he's coached him and then also coached with him. So there's a lot going on. I think, since we got about 11 minutes, man, and we'll get to the other news that, Scott Frost is back to David Goggins. He's back. He's like David Goggins. We'll get into that, in the second segment. But I think, a lot of times you get people talking to these players and they're telling them things that necessarily aren't, factual. Your market is generally based on two things for you. Now, granted, the thing that makes you in another category is being I call it a supreme player. That means you can pretty much pick where you want to go. And that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would say if you're that type of player and you've had that type of success at a university, then why would you leave? But, coach could leave and all this other stuff.
We saw Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma to Oregon, and
right.
I can't remember the exact reasons. I think it was coaching was a big one, connections.
It was that, and then the offensive coordinator that was there wanted to play Arnold, who was a 5-star quarterback, who has now been replaced. So Dylan, and then also Oregon fit Dylan Gabriel and his skill set after Bo Nix. They're both shorter quarterbacks, even though one's right-handed, one's left-handed, and he could plug and play. They needed him. So he's in a unique situation. He's not even the 1%. He's like the 0.5%. Right? He didn't have to leave. He had a great NIL kind of deal and star power at Oklahoma. We saw him in front and center, when we played him. And then you can go to a even bigger brand at this point in time. Oklahoma's a blue blood. Oregon is a blue blood without any championships right now because of the jerseys and the brand awareness and all that. So that's what guys are thinking. That's what these kids are seeing, right? That's not reality because you're not a quarterback. You're not Dylan Gabriel. You haven't even probably established yourself to that limit. Then you get people in their head and in their ear and then in their like parents or guardians' ear and they're tell them this is the opportunity. This is what you're getting. This is the number that I'm hearing. Blah, blah, blah. You need to go to another situation. And guys can jump in and make, some decisions that necessarily aren't in their best interest. And now I do think players, if you're like some of these Nebraska players, they can land somewhere. But I would ask him this, or ask anybody this. And it's a little different from offense to defense because we don't know who the coordinator is. So I do understand jumping in, just maybe seeing because you don't know, right? So say I had scheme flexibility. I could play in any, I could play 3-3-5, 4-3, 3-4. I've played, I could do all that. Now, if you're primarily, let's just say you're primarily, for instance, a hand in the dirt defensive end. So here, I'll give you somebody that I play. So like Grant Wistrom, right? He was a 5-star coming out. We call it blue chips. He was USA Today Defensive Player of the Year out of high school. And he is a defensive end, 100 out of 100. And somebody wants to come in and have him play 3-4 off of 2 feet. But he's already an All-American as a defensive end. Then I understand. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that maybe that's it. But I think majority of the time you get these guys in people's heads and for the wrong reasons. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I think I heard a story by Yaquez Yant that went to Florida A&M, and he was like, man, I wish I didn't. And the thing is not just, because everybody's like, oh, it's got to be NIL money, right? That's like lazy thinking, right? Now, granted, if you're going to pay Jay Foreman $5 here, 50 there, you got to go get to 50.
Yeah, but there was players hitting the portal before NIL was ever there.
Sure, right, but
so there's clearly reasons beyond money. Is all I'm saying.
Sometimes there are. Sometimes there's friction, and that's in any like business, right? It's like you could be a CEO of a company, Harrison, or you're like an up and coming, and you decide to go to the competitor, and it's because me and you got friction. Nobody knows, right? Or it's just like a relation, or maybe you outgrow me, or you want to go back on. There's tons of reasons for it.
Like the A&M coach, baseball coach, heading over to Texas,
right? I mean, there's
could have been friction. I can.
There was friction, and there was other stuff that he's been doing. Right? You get what I'm saying? But that doesn't necessarily need to be on the forefront. I think the lazy part of thinking when people go into portal is this: it's either money or it's got to be an issue. And sometimes it could just be. I could tell you this: I talk to Jonas Jennings all the time, and he's like their player development. Me and him played half of my career together. So we played in Buffalo together, played in San Fran together. So 5 of the 9 we played together. Jonas is a great dude, man. I love Big JoJo. And he's like, Jay, and we talked for hours. And I talked to Kenyatta Wright. He's their GM, player personnel at Oklahoma State, which is we were supposed to talk. We talk like once a week. I couldn't talk to him this week because of Mike Gundy, that situation. And he's like, and Jonas is like, Jay, listen. We've had guys that have came down here we've done more than enough, got the perfect situation, developing them, they're getting taken care of as far as off the field and on the field. And they just walk in and decide, I just want to transfer.
Yeah. I'll say this much, without like dropping it in, is like working with enough student athletes and like, they'll know people are hitting the portal. Like that surprises me a lot. I don't know if that's just the reason they're given, but you'll hear that like, there's nothing that Nebraska did.
Mm-hmm.
It was nothing that we didn't have. It was nothing that we couldn't offer. They just were ready for something else.
Right. And I think
I don't know. You can't, that's a tough thing to dissuade somebody against. Like
it's like talking to a brick wall. And I deal with it sometimes. Like I coach AAU basketball. People like, you're not going to play over there. Yeah. You might think they got like, 2 extra uniforms, but you're not playing.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes, and this is not all the time, because if there's 5 pots while guys leave, generally there's going to be 5. All 5 of those are going to be filled. Depends on how much, right? Sometimes all this, you don't appreciate it until you don't have it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, grass is greener.
Right, but you come like you got to think, Harrison. I mean, I understand why there's plenty of reasons, and I can tell you, if I might not have ended my career here with if I had won 2 national championships and got, I didn't really have friction. I just fell into a conversation that like I heard a coach was talking about, and I was like, and I seen how this particular coach treated other players at that time. Now I will tell you, I got a lot of respect for him because I think he changed some things. So I seen how he treats some other teammates, but I never got in my feelings about that because I knew that like I wasn't raised that way. But I look at it like this: when you go from high school, right, and just say you're a decently 3-4 star recruited guy, and you're getting on 3 rivals and all those guys.
You get some stars,
yeah,
on the
but you're treated as a superstar, and you're treated as a superstar in high school because you got Instagram and all that stuff, right? And then you come to Nebraska, where up until this year, haven't had success and haven't achieved a bowl game, but you're treated as if you're in the college football play. You are treated very, very well, like as far as fan support, financial support, obviously the attention that you get, all the bells and whistles. And there's probably stuff that they get that I don't even know.
Oh yeah. The Lincoln is so tied with the university
right.
that like if you're a student athlete, you can pick a plethora of places you can walk in and you just got like credit there.
Right.
Except for being
you're a superstar.
And nothing wrong with that. Like you earn it.
But they haven't.
But you gotta earn it.
But they haven't yet. But that's the thing though, Harrison. You make my point. You come from high school, you get treated as if like you have earned it. And then sometimes you think like, and then you know what happens usually when they really want you to earn it, you're like, no, I don't want to because I'm already gotten it.
Yep.
Already got it. And then they're like, okay, well maybe I need to go try somewhere else because this is getting a little too tough for me around here.
A little too hot.
A little too hot. There's plethora of reasons. So, hopefully these guys get good sound advice and they, choose to go in, if they do, or obviously ideally you like them to stay. But then also let's face it, with this 105 coming, you have to do, sometimes as a coach, you're going to have to do right by them. Say, look, man, the way it's going to be adding up, I don't know if it's going to work out for you. So you want to give them the best chance to move on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to think I don't know. This whole 105 thing, it's gonna make life hell for coaches, but at the same time, you're gonna figure out you're gonna get 105 competitors. I feel like you have a better chance of that. Like you always point to that. You're gonna 20% of the team's always really hard. You gotta have 80% locked in. I think you'll be a lot closer to being able to cut that 20% off with this.
I think you're gonna be able to get closer to quicker.
Yeah, because people need, you want to make the team.
Yeah. Well,
only so many spots.
The dynamics of that is going to be huge. And I think it could work well for Nebraska if done right. To get you back to, we got a big step now, or baby, whatever you want to call it, made a bowl. Now we can get to that point to where we can, be relevant and competitive every year a little bit quicker if the 105, works the way I hope it does. So anyways, we're going to take a quick break, come back. We'll discuss the 105. We'll dive into a little bit of the basketball. Yesterday was a shellacking.
Yeah, we don't have to spend too much time on it.
I could tell you, what I would have done, Harrison? I would have did old Pat Summitt. Did you ever hear about what Pat Summitt did?
Which time?
Well, the one time that they played, this was back when I think they had Shamika Holtzclaw on them, and they were number one, and they went somewhere and played like boo-boo, like yesterday, and got smoked. So by the time they got back, and they must have came back to the facility, she must have called somehow from the locker room. She had the practice uniforms out there. You get off the plane, we're getting right after.
Seriously though,
that's what I would have done.
It needed to be like, hey, you wanna be a good basketball team. That's what beating number 2 UConn and number 1 North Carolina looks like. That's Michigan State.
Yeah, and Michigan State played very, very well for them. They've
been playing good though.
Yeah.
Or who was it? UConn. They either beat I want to say they beat UConn when they were number 2.
Yeah. But they were hitting. They were at home,
and I think their loss might have been North Carolina.
Yeah, and I think up there they've notoriously taken us to the woodshed up there. I mean, so
yeah,
you got to have a little bit of pause for the cause, but I don't think they're 40 points better than us. So we would have been practicing yesterday. We would have had a little practice. But anyways, we're gonna take a quick break. Come back. We'll talk about the 105 and how I think that I would approach the 105 once we get there, and how it could be actually a good thing for Nebraska, even though the initial shock of losing some guys is going to hurt some. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back.
Tanner's Bar and Grill is the best place in Lincoln for a casual get-together, best place to watch a game, and the best for pre- and post-game. Catch college and NFL football as well as the volleyball action this season at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. What's better than wings, cold beer, and a Husker win? Enjoy great food and drink specials every day and tons of TVs to catch all the action. Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretexcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call Liberty Law at 877-42-LIBERTY. Advocates you need, trial attorneys you can trust. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh yeah, this is a game changer. Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call John Henrys at 402-435-5555 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-435-5555.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
'Tis the season to raise a little Cane with Raising Cane's. Spread joy with craveable chicken finger meals and treat everyone on your nice list to a Cane's gift card or our beanies, socks, mugs, and more. Happy holidays from Raising Cane's. One love.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up, we're back. Jay Foreman. Inside the Huddle brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Once again, we'll give a little quick update. Women's volleyball swept yesterday, so they'll be hosting, right, Harrison?
Yep,
so that'd be good. That'd be obviously as it should be. So I always say they held serve and did what they're supposed to do. Looked really good doing it too. I think the same lineup since maybe the 10th match has really been their magic potion, playing really well.
It's gonna be interesting. It's we got Wisconsin on our side, and Arizona State too. They're sneaky good in volleyball,
right? And because
I shouldn't say sneaky good. It's just for me as someone who like really locked in on Husker volleyball,
right?
Like I know the Big Ten team's pretty common, but Arizona State, but apparently they could be a potential problem not only for Wisconsin, but if they beat Wisconsin, that's a team to look at.
Sure, and also because you know the Big Ten is such a gauntlet, and so the players, the coaches, the arenas, and so when you play teams like Arizona State, or if you play, like a Pitt, or just these kind of oddities, is like they can catch you like off guard, and then they can extend the match. But what I think about this team versus last year, I think they, obviously, look, they were a great team last year. I think they have a little bit more edge, a little bit more realistic depth, and they've been through this process before. So I think to this point, they've been able to raise they're up to the bigger the game, I think they've been able to or bigger the match, they've been able to raise their level of intensity and execution. I think the, stubbing your toe against SMU helped. I think going to Penn State and losing, I think helped. I think immediately playing the next night or next day against Maryland, struggling in that first set will help them down the road. So hopefully they just continue along the process and eventually, become a national champ. So that was good. And then on the other side, or earlier in the day, was the men's basketball team. Michigan, playing at Michigan State is tough. I think Michigan had a really good transfer portal, all season, good mix. We could. It just seemed like Nebraska when they were up that we could never get started. We were kind of hanging around a little bit, and we went into halftime down by 10. And you're like, okay, that's realistic because we haven't got started. They kind of just have been. They were playing at a high level, or Michigan State was the first half. We never. You're like, okay, we'll catch our second win. We never got out of it. We never got out of the second gear.
It was a disaster.
Yeah.
I had to run some errands. I got to halftime, and I was like, all right, bet I might miss the first few minutes.
You could just stay there and run an errand.
That was it, man. I missed whatever those 5 minutes were to open up the second half. Not even
5,
4, 3.
It was. They got outscored
it was
31 to 5.
30 by the time I just missed hardly into the second half, and I was like, what happened here? I'll give credit to Michigan State. First half, and then apparently for that short 3 minutes I was gone, and then the rest of the game, defense for them is incredible.
Yeah, like I said, every time that, at least in my recent recollection, every time we played up there, they've done it. Now, and I think remember when we had Derek Walker, and we were started to really dive into being a better defensive team, and they just killed us with their rotation. They got hot, and then we played them here, and we ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was it's always a bad sign. And I think the guard, last name is Spears, number 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good player, but he shot a 3. I call it the pocket, but it's not the corner, it's not the wing, it's kind of over there, and it hit the rim, bounced up, came back down, went half around the rim, went in. That's when that's what today's not our day.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think the intensity probably wasn't there what Fred liked, and I'm sure he's going to make sure that's addressed. And that's what happens sometimes when you're not in the right mind frame or intensity, and you play a team that's ready to play on national TV at 11.
And they were picking up fouls too. Michigan State just outworked them in every way.
Yeah, they were on every loose ball.
Yeah,
they were diving on the floor.
And if you lost that ball, good luck. They're down. They're down the other side, end of the court already.
Yeah, they were full-fledged. It's almost like Tom Izzo went back to old school. You ever hear about the practices where he put the football pads on the guys?
I might have been one of those.
I think that's he. So what he did it was to understand and get guys getting. He knows football is a collision sport.
Yeah,
basketball is a contact sport. So he already knew these guys would be contact, but he wanted him to. This is when they were really, really going. He would have those, they were killing everybody on the board, so he would put the pads on them. So once he took the pads off, it was second nature. Football pads.
Someone argue that was the best era of basketball.
Yeah, and Michigan State was a problem.
Yeah.
And they would get in the NCAA tournaments and just wear guys out. So, but anyways, back to this 105, Harrison. I think actually for a team like Nebraska, it sucks that I guess the way it looks like right now, the walk-on program is, gone. I don't think it's necessarily gone. But just because Nebraska's always had at least 150 guys on the roster, you could have 50 walk-ons or more, because I know that some guys were on NIL scholarships and they could fudge with the numbers that way, but always had a really, really big roster with, local people or local kids, and then obviously kids from close that always wanted to play at Nebraska, were willing to walk on, go to school, understand that they were part of the team and practice. And actually, when you think about the walk-on program at Nebraska, you've had some iconic players come from the walk-on program. And you've had Nebraska homegrown players be a part of, quite frankly, 1995, I think, predominantly a lot of that offensive line was from Nebraska. I don't think any of them were walk-ons, but from Nebraska, we had a lot of walk-on players that have filled roles and become star players. Look at Joe Makovica; he was a walk-on. We came in together. Even guys like Ben Butenbach, who back me up, but was a big part of our teams. You think of like guys that were like rotational players, Matt Hoskinson, Matt Verzal. All you just go down, from the.
You lose that rare player.
You lose the opportunity to find the Brian Shaw.
Yeah.
Who, when I saw him, was like, who's this tall, lanky?
Just don't look like they belong.
No,
the work ethic takes over.
But once we got in there and started doing like testing out, I was like, dang, he jumped 38. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know what? Brian Shaw was a hard worker, a tough kid, competitive, smart. And then I think he still has the short shuttle like record for linebackers. Now, I will tell you this. Brian Shaw wasn't one of these like little puny, 195 dudes like where we'd have like playing out on the wings. He was 215, 220. And he was out like performing everybody in our performance index. That's where you lose the guy that think he's from, a little bit farther out, like towards Hastings. I think is it Deweese? Is that it? Deweese? He always gets mad at me about this. I always think, but Brian Shaw is from out there, a little bit farther out there, and so you miss out on that opportunity, right? Nobody knew about Brian Shaw. He played 8-man football, a great athlete. He grew up working on the farm, but he's a great athlete.
Mm-hmm.
His whole family is great athletes, and he's competitive. He's a worker, and so it's like always plus. It's almost like +2 in who you get. You get the unknown players as on your team, and then you get the bonus player that he develops into. So that's where you kind of lose a little bit or a lot, and it's also a big part of the Nebraska program. A lot of my friends that I've befriended like when I got here were walk-ons or Nebraska kids, so they kind of taught me what it meant to the program. And I'll tell you this before, a guy that had a huge impact on me playing as a freshman was Clint Brown. He was a backup to Troy Dumas. Clint was a walk-on. He, took me underneath his wing, probably because I just kept my mouth shut and just showed up and played, and taught me how to work. He would talk to me about different parts of the program and Nebraska and what it meant. I'm coming from, I don't know. I mean, I knew about Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
All I knew is they were going to play for national championship, and I wanted to come.
Yeah.
And he taught me everything, man.
And he gave you the culture and the history lessons.
Right. And he pushed me and he challenged me, even though I was a redshirt. But that is really stayed with me. He didn't have to do that, right? But that's part of the walk-on program. Just isn't Brian Shaw and those guys. It's what they bring to the program to teach people about it, leadership and stuff like that. And they have big roles on. I mean, Joe Makovica, I'd probably say is the best running fullback that we've ever had. He has an iconic play. I think it was when Akron or whatever, and he ran through like the whole team. And so now the 105 now, I think will, on the flip side, help Nebraska. I think when you look at the sidelines sometimes, I think having 150, 75 guys down there can really be chaotic. I think it'll make things more competitive. I think I wouldn't say guys I'll say it. They won't be as comfortable when you're like at 70 to like 105. Oh no, you can't be late for meetings. You can't miss a meal. You can't be bad academically. You better be a good dude, and you better be hitting your marks as far as improvement, and you better be trying to make your way up that depth chart. So how you the tricky part is that 105 and how you allocate, I guess, let's just say NIL money, but just how many players you have per position group will change per year. And that's where you have to be really, really good. Because I think you're going to segment this roster into 3 different levels. Obviously you're going to have, I think when you think about it, for me, it's going to trim down the amount of players that you're going to play per game, which is great. It's like sometimes I watch these high school basketball games that, like you really only got 6 guys, but you play 9. Play your 6. The other 3 need to come in periodically. So it's going to probably be, let's say I like it. I'll use my number in the NFL. Your top 56 players. That's who's going to be your bell cows. So essentially you got 50 other players that are broken into 2 segments, right? Guys that are waiting in the wings that are kind of in that gray area where they, they'll be, called up if there's, injuries or something like that, or, they continue to show progress in practice.
Yeah, opportunity away, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And then the bottom roster is the bottom part, or that third part is guys that you are in a recruiting class or on your team that the plan is Harrison needs 2 years of grooming because you're from Kansas and you know what you played 8-man football and you need to get bigger, faster, and stronger, but you also have to be competitive and you have to fit our scheme, you have to fit our culture, and so how you manage that. And then also I think there's another part of it, that very, very low part of it, so let's just say 90 to 105, right? So the three that I just talked about before is your top 90, your 50, and then all that, right? So that's pretty, and then say 2020, that 90 to 105, that 10 to 15 is kind of like going to be constantly revolving potentially. That's going to be like the transfer portal guys. That might be some guys that boom or bust guys.
I was going to say it's going to be interesting with the portal too, because you better hit the guys that you're hoping.
Right, and ideally, once you get that 50 secure, and moving along that process, you don't have to be desperate in the portal. Guys won't actually go in the portal that much because then you're going to say, listen, it's only 105 now. And even if, because now you could go to schools and say they really like Jay Foreman and you go to, and I want to transfer, say, from Nebraska to Kansas State. Kansas State might have a booster and say, okay, I'll just count them as a walk-on, but I'll take care of them.
They don't care about the scholarship. I wonder if this is a big reason to kind of combat some of this transfer portal.
They don't. The NCAA don't care. Let's be honest. What happens is I think the TV contracts got it to where everybody's on scholarship, and this is all. And so now you have revenue sharing.
Yeah, that's more rational answer. Right. The money.
Yeah, the money.
Is what drove it.
So okay, so you guys want revenue sharing? Here's $20.5 million a year, and it'll go up, but figure it out throughout your whole football or the athletic department. Here's where it will ideally, for players, change the landscape of the portal. Because if I'm at Nebraska, let's face it, the football team and the revenue sharing is number one. But say you go to, I'm just thinking, like, okay, well, you can't say UConn. Okay, well, say UConn's, looking at you, or like a school like that where your football team isn't significantly the number one, right? And you go to
where you say Michigan State.
Okay, Michigan State, right? Okay, that's a perfect example. Michigan State. Well, that part of revenue sharing isn't the biggest pie over here. So you're not. So if you go, you're not going to get what you want, and then if you don't perform, you're out of there, buddy. And so that's where I think it would change and hopefully alleviate this ability or the instant gratification of jumping in the portal. By roster management. Now, I do think some schools, it'll be very, very hard for them to fill 105. But I think the schools like Nebraska, if done right, or, which I think Nebraska do right, but a school that really could potentially do it and is, academics hurt some, is like a Northwestern. Because you got to think, kids that don't have, say you're a good player. Say me and you're two good players. And like, Harrison, where are you going? Oh, man, Nebraska doesn't have a spot for me. Michigan State doesn't have a spot for me. But there's 4 spots open at Northwestern. We're still dudes that can play. Now you get to go to Northwestern. The NIL might not be, what we think, but we're on scholarship and we get a little bit, but now we get to get on the field. And so that's where I think you're going to see the transfer portal maybe get an uptick. Is it won't be necessarily going down a level to level back up, which still will happen, is going mid-level and level back up. So you might be here at say like a blue blood, go down to let's call them a yellow blood or whatever, and then back up if you have a good year. So that's where you have to be very strategic about what you're doing and your roster management and where it can go. So, but I think it'll work out for Nebraska. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll the elephant in the room. He's back. Do you listen to David Goggins?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. When he's running. Yeah. The best part is I don't know who holds the camera for David Goggins. They listen to somebody saying and not it's some of the stuff he's saying and not laugh. But anyways, Scott Frost is back at UCF officially. Give my opinions on that and after this break. But Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back. This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
As you get older, dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at CoppelCars.com. All deals with approved credit must trade and Costco.
League One Volleyball is coming to Omaha this January. Featuring Olympic medalist Jordan Larson and Justine Wong-Arantes, Love Omaha Volleyball is Omaha's newest pro team. The inaugural season will showcase some of the world's best volleyball players, from medalists to NCAA champions and international superstars, with the action kicking off on January 24th at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Visit LOVB.com for more information and to purchase tickets. Volleyball is the next major league.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call Liberty Law at 877-42-LIBERTY. Advocates you need, trial attorneys you can trust. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. They will take care of all your imaging needs, and they have a great staff, great support system, which also has always been helpful for me. Plethora of injuries or whatever issues from playing football and just life, and they've helped me keep them at bay or not as hurt as much. But anyways, a little bit of shocking news. And I'm not shocked that he's back, like coaching full time, like a head coach.
Yeah.
Probably I'm a little shocked maybe this quick, but if you haven't been anywhere close to your phone, or I'm sure it was on the news, former Nebraska coach and former teammate of mine, Scott Frost, is just been was officially named the head coach at UCF, University of Central Florida, where he was before he came to Nebraska as of yesterday. So prior to that, I think he took a year off, and then he was out with the Rams doing quality control, which I think was really good for Scott. He wanted to get back into business and learn. And I guarantee you he got the sign off for Sean McVay. Come in there, work. And I think he got, from my experience of knowing what quality control guys do, I don't know if he was on one side of the ball or did everything. You're breaking down tape for special teams, defense and offense. You're in all the meetings, so you're able to kind of watch somebody lead a professional organization, a pro football team from afar, and then also take what you learn there to college, because now it's almost apples to apples.
Mm-hmm.
College football now is professional sports. Or professional football. So, if he's, you can take that and maybe, catch some more genie in the bottle, like he had, the 2 years that he was there. I think the biggest thing for him is, look, get to work, do what you need to do. I don't think, play calling is never going to be an issue for him. I think getting out there with a really, really good play caller and Sean McVay and learn some things and being able to, I'm assuming at some point in time, pick his brain of what he, how he views offense, and Rams have a really, really good defense. So hopefully he's taking some notes from that, and he's got to put together a good staff, a support staff, and he's going to have plenty of talent down there. And I don't think so it's all up to him. And I said this before, about Scott. I know obviously his tenure here did not go well at all. Right. Now I will say this, and I keep saying that there were factors beyond his control that anybody would fail at.
The COVID reset
hurt
program like Nebraska that was already
at that point
trying
in time
to pick itself up is brutal.
Well, you got to think the dynamic. He comes in, he has essentially the longest runway in college football. So you essentially take a team that's kind of like stacked the right way as far as like freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, and you just gut the team. You go really, really young. You got to think his first move was taking Adrian Martinez over the eventual number one pick in Joe Burrow.
And it was good.
So
it was
well, right. So I mean, so you go with your freshman quarterback.
Uh-huh.
So now when you're young, and that's fine. Then COVID hits, and you got to think when COVID hits, they weren't even able to build a culture yet of winning. Whereas teams like Iowa, Ohio State, they're able to go in. They're already set, right? And so that was probably a big factor. Listen, not playing that game against Akron and the weather delay did not stop Scott from winning. Stop all that nonsense. It was big, COVID, and I think he probably needed a little bit, probably some guys around him. Well, he needed to be listening to people that and not get his feelings hurt, as far as telling him some things or helping him with some things. I think also the dynamics of college football was significantly different. You got to think you had only 9 full-time coaches that you could have. Very, very stringent on as far as the analysts and what they could do. Now you can have unlimited coaches, and you got a ton of analysts and support staff. So it's different. So he could be successful. He could expand his coaching roster 2-3 times. So you can have different ideas, and you can really, really develop a lot faster. Than a situation that he was in. So as long as he's around the, got his mind right, and I'm sure he has. They wouldn't hire him if he didn't, because also it's another AD. I think he has a lot of goodwill back there. They really liked him back there. He's focused, work, get a good staff, and he's got a ton of talent down there. I see no reason why he can't be successful. Now, will it be another quote unquote aired
undefeated beating Auburn?
Yeah, maybe. Doubt it. But I think that he's going to be a player down there. I know, in that Orlando area and in Florida, those high school coaches like him a lot. So hopefully he does well. Wish him all the best. Now, hopefully this will put that Nebraska tenure to rest, and in his mind as well too.
Yeah,
he's got, as much as he doesn't want people in Nebraska to punch him from afar. He don't need to punch Nebraska from afar. He's in a new place and just move on. So, anyways, appreciate you guys listening. Once again, Inside the Huddle, Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll holler at you next week. This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out